Hey everyone, it's James at geometriccharts.com. It's about 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We got the 4-hour chart of Bitcoin, BTC, USD on the Bitfinex exchange. So first of all, video is not investment advice. And second of all, let's just kind of get into the numbers right now. So Bitcoin's definitely trying to hold this like 3,900 area on Bitfinex. The other exchanges are going to differ just slightly, about like 50 points or so. But right around this area is where Bitcoin needs to hold up. If it cannot hold this range, I definitely think it's going to be susceptible to a dump. Now, we are pretty much filling out a nice little bear flag here in the charts, and we could have one more run up out of here. I don't know, but as of now, it looks very, very weak. I've noticed that each and every pump up has been just dumped into, again, very reminiscent of what happened at the 6,000 level. So I think if this area starts to give out, this is a pretty significant line forming here in Bitcoin right around the 3,900 mark for it. And if it does give out, again, I think we could see a downslide, probably a waterfall event. Now, one thing I is talking to my subs about is that I feel like the market is essentially conditioning people right now to accept that every single dump is going to be purchased, and you can basically just throw your money in there. And I witnessed the same thing happen in gold recently, where gold, the projections were getting crazy, just like they're getting crazy in Bitcoin. I mean, it seems like every day numbers are getting higher and higher and higher for Bitcoin. I saw a chart where someone just like literally did this to 6 figures in Bitcoin. I don't want to give too much information because I'm not trying to put anyone on blast, but the thing is that the wild and crazy projections are coming out just like they came out at the 6,000 level. And the same price behavior that goes on in other markets is happening here. And I watched it literally happen in gold not even that long ago, not even just like a week ago, happened where people got so bullish. I mean, on mainstream media, they were hammering buy. If you know who does that, that's exactly who is hammering to buy it. And everyone was just getting wild and crazy projections. It started at 1,400, then it was like 1,700, it was 1,900, it was 10,000. It was like things going to the moon. It's going to outperform Bitcoin, blah, blah, blah. And the market just dumped out. And this is the conditioning that happens in this market, because you got these big players that are looking to dump some positions, and they're not going to dump into each other, and they're not just going to go out and say, okay, I got $100 million, I want to dump, let me just press sell. You can't do that as a big player in the market. You have to strategically think and set it up on how you're going to sell out. Most people have teams of sellers that will just kind of design this game plan for you, and they'll dump it into the market systematically. You can run through different exchanges, etc. But the point is that no big player that's especially been doing it for a long time is just going to go in and be like, I got $100 million, I'm just going to hit sell, and that's it. So what has to happen is that you have to essentially mold the market. And the same thing literally happened in gold. You can look at a gold chart. The same thing happened, to where it's just pumping and pumping and pumping and pumping. And every single drop is being bought and bought and bought and bought. And guess what happens? Boom, massive profit-taking event. And who do you think's eating it? The retail traders, who can only do what's just basic human nature and assume that because this asset is doing this, it's going to continue doing it forever. And that's how you get these crazy projections in all assets across the board. Same thing with the stock market. Stock market has been on a rampage since the bottom in December, and it's been one hell of a ride and one hell of a trade for the market. And it just continues, and it's on this tear, and its sentiment's extremely bullish. Well, it started off very bearish, and it's been very, very bearish for a long time. Recently, sentiment started kind of tailoring back, pushing back up to bullish, and I imagine that at this level, it's going to continue to do so. Well, guess what? There's going to be a profit-taking event in the market. The market is going to correct, and it's not. These big players are going to dump into these retail traders, and it's only around the corner. So again, I've seen this happen time and time again. If you trade and you've been trading for a long time, It's not, it's the way you have to think about it is like you have a tightrope, and these big players are trying to keep small money off balance at all times because you are the guppies, not like you personally, but the retail traders are the guppies that are there to eat the whale vomit, and that is it. So when whales want to vomit, they need those traders to come in, and that's why they're called guppies, and just eat all that vomit up. And that's exactly what happens. And that allows them to get out at higher price points versus just dumping 100 million into the market and dumping the whole market out like that. Now in Bitcoin, when these dumps happen, they happen like that because there's not enough sustained buyers. And it's the same story over and over and over again with Bitcoin, is there's not a steady influx of buyers. Otherwise, we would sustain these moves and we would have sustained higher lows very long ago. Now, of course, we can scroll all the way back and say, well, we're still way above the lows, blah, blah, blah. That's great. The market doesn't have memory for that. All the market has memory for is about this. That's it. This is the reality of the auction house, right? If you want to talk about the auction house back there, go talk to Grandpa. Can it lead to lines and lead to possible future projections? Of course it can, but this is the reality and this is the focus of the market and what is truly going on here. And the same exact story is being repeated that was at 6,000, where the market's being conditioned. People are coming up with crazy price points. I told you, if Bitcoin is able to bust through about like the 43, 4,400 area, at least from my analysis, and this is a longer term downtrend line, and really it doesn't mean squat at the end of the day because everyone's looking at this damn thing. But I do think it could become a major level of a potential change in the market depending on how price reacts beyond that 43 to 4,400 area. So in the bigger picture, I think if price gets above that, it's going to be good for the market, or at least start stepping in the right direction to potentially a bigger relief rally to the massive haircut that we had from 6,000 down to 3,000 in this market. But if Bitcoin keeps drooping like it is now, again, it's struggling. It's struggling to pump higher the same way it struggled back in here to pump higher. Remember this? Everyone thought it was going to the moon. Dead. Everyone thought it was going to the moon. Dead. Everyone thought it was going to the moon. Dead. Down again. Well, okay. Everyone thought it was going to the moon. Dead. Everyone thought it was going to the moon. Dead. Now it's just kind of chopping around. Maybe everyone thinks it's going to go to the moon. Dead. You know, that's pretty much the reoccurring theme here. It's looking, the pig is definitely changing, or at least it's in some clothes and some makeup, and it looks beautiful, but there's still a very high probability, especially when there is a lack of buyers entering this market, because if there was, this high would have been higher, and it would have kept pumping and sustaining. Instead, what you're seeing is whoa, 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 whoa. And what we're seeing is that not only do you have that line there, but you have this line here, and you have dying momentum the entire time while Bitcoin is trying to pump upward. And just look at the momentum indicators. It's dying. It's dying. It's like an auction house going off, and the guy is talking, and there's just crickets in the background, essentially. So again, you know, the only reason I think we're seeing a lot of these spikes in some of the smaller alts like XLM, things like that, is that they're being dumped onto other exchanges, and assets like XLM and other things attract retail traders because they're small assets. So you can own like 100,000 XLM for like 1 Bitcoin, you know, and that's just me just throwing a number out there. It's not the real number, but the idea is that the retail trader psychologically feels better owning 100,000 versus 1, even though 10% is 10%, 20% is 20%. It doesn't matter, but to the psyche aspect of it, it does. And it does. And it plays a huge factor. That's why these small coins get so crazy, and they produce these violent spikes, and violent spikes right back down as well too, because the bigger players in these market know once the guppies start buying, that's it. You got to strike while the iron is hot. And I definitely think XLM is going to be in a world of hurting soon. So if you are in XLM, I would highly advise coming up with a strategy on how you are going to protect your money in XLM. But anyways, back to Bitcoin. If it can break through the 43, 4,400, stay trading above that, show some strength, actually start breaking to a higher high, and which is right above about 4,400, and start to see that strength and some change in momentum, because this is negative momentum all the way back since 20,000. So I don't mean to make this a long video, but there's a lot of bearish indicators going here, and how somebody who I know is not beholden to anyone is going to come on here and just draw this and say, well, guess what? Just because I can draw this, and technically it looks like a rounded bottom, it just has to go to 100,000 or 200 or 400 or 500 or 740,000 like I've seen there. You know, that's just the biggest crock of crap I've ever seen in my life. And I know people are going to get pissed and I'm going to get dislikes on the video. I don't give a damn. At the end of the day, there's not enough people in this market thinking logically. Instead, they're trying to be sold on a sexy story that Bitcoin's going to go to the moon and they're going to lose their rear end, and if not more. There are people that took second mortgages to get into Bitcoin because idiots on social media, on mainstream media, talking about these wild and crazy projections. The same damn thing is happening over and over and over again. This is like Groundhog's Day in real life, and it's mind-boggling to see that. So it's not that I think it's the end of the market, but when you see the same damn thing happen over and over and over again, you just have to have the caution flags out. So anyways, I didn't mean to make the video that long, but I just kind of wanted to lay it out there. I talked to my subs about it. I went over some various different charts and stuff with them to kind of really hit it home on what I believe is happening in this market. And I said the same thing at 6,000. I got so much crap at 6,000. So many, I think my dislikes ramped up at 6,000 because no one wanted to hear the possibility of downside. Everyone wanted to live in fantasy land and draw the natural conclusion of where retail traders fall trapped to. And that is, if it's heading higher, it's going to continue to do so, and nothing is ever going to stop it. And this goes for any asset class. I don't care what it is, but everyone drew this conclusion, right? Everyone's drawing the same identical conclusion, and they're literally almost operating on the same identical frequency. So again, be pissed at me all you want, but it's a pig with different lipstick. And all I can say is I would love to be proved wrong. I know there's a lot of people that have Bitcoin at much higher levels. I'd love to see Bitcoin at 100,000, but it's a very slim possibility of that. Very slim possibility. You can't ask more for the product you're trying to sell if you have no one coming into the doors, or less and less people coming into the doors. And those people who are coming in the doors are saying, I don't want to buy at that price. I'm just going to wait. And that's exactly what the chart depicts. That's exactly what that dying momentum is. It's a dying auction house. So it's not that it's the end of the asset, but it definitely has a troubled road ahead. And I think we're going to chop sideways at best, and any pump is going to be dumped into this market until proven otherwise. And again, it's going to have to get over 4,400 and stay trading above it. So sorry for making this into a long video. I appreciate everyone's time. Hope everybody has a great night, great day, depending on where you are in the world. I will produce another video on Friday. If you do like the video, like, comment, subscribe, follow. I appreciate it if you've hung in this long. And again, I'll talk to you on Friday.